No money changing hands. Just two soldiers speaking the truth. Help me. Help me to do this. That's it, I have to leave now. You don't shoot him, millions will die.
Hello there, Sir from 17 once again, introducing you to my Battlefield 3 hard difficulty video walkthrough. And this is the mission Going Hunting. And if this does not inspire you to throw on Danger Zone and start, running around your house semi-naked wearing leg warmers, I don't think I know what will. Because this makes me want to air guitar with my shirt off, with one foot up on something and my other hand in the air. It's it's just one of those moments. And this is the area where if you have any Maverick and Goose quotes, you can openly drop them because it's exactly what is appropriate. And we're going to be the gunner pilot for a jet. The first section of this level is actually kind of interesting. It's a little bit boring, I'm not going to lie. You're going to be sitting in this cockpit doing, pilot things. And I don't know, I've trimmed out the whole start section because that's just dead air. And there's enough dead air on this level as it is, because this is actually 2 videos and both of them are very long because it's heavily scripted and it takes a while to do it. And what's going to happen is, we're going to fly towards our target, we're going to get attacked by a bunch of enemy pilots, they're going to fly behind you, you're going to use your flares, your countermeasures to stop them from hitting us with missiles, then you're going to get your chance to attack them. You repeat this twice, and you do the first section of the level. And to be completely honest, there is no strategy even required, it is very simple. Just hit them with your lock-on missiles, the heat seekers, and press the left trigger for the countermeasures as soon as they fire the missile and not before, or you'll waste them. That aside, you do not need any more help for this. So you could literally put Top Gun on in the background, or Flashdance, or any, awesome, cheesy movie, and you're away. Unfortunately, none of this is skippable. So if you're coming back to do the achievement for doing this perfectly, it could be a pain in the ass if you mess it up. Truth be told, I don't even know what you have to do for that achievement, which is kind of fucking weird, but there you go. And it's a cool idea, I just wish it was a little bit more hands-on. And don't get me wrong, I don't want hawks, I don't want to be flying a jet, I don't need that. If I want to play with vehicles, I'll buy a game that's about vehicles. I'm the exact same with the tanks. I'm not the biggest fan of the tank levels, but I can put up with the tank levels because I've put up with them for a hell of a long time. I'm not the guy that bought Chrome Hounds, I'm not the guy that plays Mech Warriors or any of that shit, or even Ace Combats, because it just doesn't interest me. I like guns, I don't like, aerial vehicles all that much. But this is all practically a cinematic, and if it wasn't for the fact that I'm actually putting Google ads on this guide, I would probably drop Danger Zone on it. Because it's so appropriate, man. I'm practically a few bars away from starting to sing it. It's on my mind. But yeah, this is a pretty dull level. There's not too much to be said about it. So I'm going to talk about some other things, and I'm going to talk about something that's, not the nicest of topics, but I remembered it the other day when I was watching a stand-up show, and somebody referenced it and made a joke about it. And I'm not going to say the joke because it's probably going to offend some people, but one thing I will say is, you can joke about anything, people. The whole point of being able to joke is that you're making some kind of exaggeration that completely takes it away from reality and turns it into something comical. It's not to be taken offence from, it's just how it works. It's just one of those things. You could say abortion and a lot of people may get offended. You could make a joke about an abortion saying, having a full English breakfast is basically, a bunch of bacon and sausages and then a chicken's period. Or a chicken's abortion if you want, and then that would be in funny context because you've made an exaggeration, because you've exceeded something that would originally be offensive, and it's the context that it's said in and it's the intonation behind it. But this, anyway, off that subject, because that's a subject that I should probably talk about in a different video all completely. The subject was about the little baby in China that was left in the road and was run over by I think a garbage truck, and then run over by another garbage truck. And it turns out that this little kid had been left in the middle of this busy highway, or this busy street, for quite a long time, and it had been getting hit by cars for quite some time as well, and there were passers-by seeing this and doing nothing about it. And everybody else, all over the world, is outraged. Even, the Chinese are probably outraged as well, but there's a lot of people that are super pissed off about it, super upset about it, that think it's, dehumanizing, It's completely, inhuman to be able to do that or watch that and not act. It's all this, nihilistic nepotism and all these different words they want to throw about to our misanthropic race. And they can't understand it. And the reason that they can't understand it, from my perspective, is because they're putting a Western culture or a Western ideology onto that situation. And what I mean by this is, we're constantly preached to by news channels, by advertisements, by pretty much every single piece of our culture that children are sacred, that having a child is the best thing you can do. I mean, even our biological structure is an imperative to procreate. It is to push our genes into somebody else. It's to constantly, consummate. And that's why we're so deeply filled with sin and regret. But everything you see, children are sacred. And it's a culture that we're brought up on, and it's a culture that we eat day in and day out. And it affects you. Even if you don't think it affects you subconsciously, and it builds up these... You're conditioned to believe that children are these pillars of innocence, and this is not me, going to reverse it on its head and say they're utter bastards and the reason the devil exists. That's not what I'm getting at here, but our culture deifies them. It puts them on a pedestal of, completely pure vessels and innocence, and that is something that we all aspire towards because we're older now, we're cynical, we're pessimistic, we're tainted, and we'll never have that level of innocence. In China, things are a little fucking different, and this is not everybody in China, but it is the way that their ideology works from their government, because if you don't know this, China are actually limited on the amount of children that a family can have. They limit how many children you can have, and to me, this always sounded like a good idea because it thins the gene pool, and if, somebody gives birth to a dumb person, so to speak, or somebody who's going to be a criminal or not add to society in any way, hopefully they'll be too fucking dumb to finish off in some lady and spread their stupid genes, and hopefully we'll get more intelligent as a race because we'll wean out all the douchebags. But in reality, it's nothing like that, because it's our carnal right to be able to have children, I do believe. I don't think you should be able to control somebody's behaviour like that, because the rebel in me wants to say, you can't tell me what to do. And the reason why this can happen in a civilized society is because they've completely devalued children, because you're only allowed to have one of them. And in China now, there's so much stress on children to get good grades at schools there. I think they have one of the highest suicide rates on any place on the planet, because the children are pretty much told if they don't succeed at school and get good grades and get a good job, they will fail at life and they'll shame the family. So these kids are fucking killing themselves because they weren't born gifted, or they're not academically gifted. So they're doing all sorts of stuff, from hanging themselves to taking pills to killing themselves. They're aborting their own lives because they're not good enough and they don't want to shame their parents. And it's created this counterculture of no worth or value to children, because children are euthanized every day in that place, because if they give birth to a disabled baby, they've probably got no qualms in mercy killing it, because it's not going to be the child they want, it's not going to be the prodigy that they have. And if they have one child and it's not, a winner, so to speak, I know this is an awful thing to say, because all people on all children have some worth, have something to... They're fucking people at the end of the day. But because there's this massive status and this cultural status that they weigh on having a successful child, it almost turns them into these desensitized human beings. And that is why that kid was able to have been sat there getting run over, because nobody gives a fuck. And that's all due to what I believe this law, this ridiculous population control measure that China's regime has implied. And I think that's probably the reason why it fundamentally fails, aside from the fact that in a democracy you're not supposed to be able to work with absolutes. And I just think it's crazy that can happen, and I think it's crazy that I can even conceive of a world where that can be explained with something as logical as people have been disenfranchised from the value of human life. But this is a subject that you can talk about for eons and go into ridiculous amounts of depth. But what do y'all guys feel? I mean, I do a lot of talking on these videos, and it's always nice to get a response from somebody who's got a different opinion. And this level is still going, 10 minutes of just this. Goodness me, what were they thinking? This could be so exciting, and it just isn't. And if you think this is dull, the next part is worse. It's looking at a grey TV monitor, waiting for snow to happen on static. It's just, oh, why, guys? Why? But it is the last few seconds, and once you take out the last guy, it'll start flying towards. I've cut out all the re-landing stuff. You don't have to do anything in them anyway. The next section is you controlling, I think it's a drone, and it's just kind of like the AC-130s, but nowhere near as fun. Which is a shame, because even Ace Combat started putting the AC-130s in because it's such a fun experience. I don't know how well they've done it, because I don't have much faith in that developer whatsoever. Or that development team, should I say. But that's the end of the video, people. I hope it's helping. I hope you're enjoying the guide. And as always, you take care now.